Hey guys, Jin here, back again with another topic for you guys. So this one I actually put a poll out for, and this one ended up winning, which is actually talking about the manga industry and sources that put manga out, just like Shonen Jump or Tokyo Pop, because they came back. Seven Seas, Yin Press, things like that. So today, the company that I'm talking about is one that one of my friends I feel like picked to troll me. But they want me to talk about Fakku, which is a more hentai-esque manga service that you can use. So with this one, you can read different stuff on there. Obviously, all of it goes into that more seductive stuff, even more than like ghost ship titles and stuff. Ghost ship usually tends to be more itchy. This one goes into actually like sex and things like that. So, and I believe they have games on there too. I think that's right. I don't know. Like the Euro manga games or whatever, that you can play some of them on like PlayStation or whatever. Taku Michaelos Nikopara, and that's the only thing that I can really relate to those games at all, is ones that are like that, or that are like the somewhat like story RPG-esque ones, but then the ones that we usually get on the PlayStation and Xbox and stuff here, usually it cuts you off at certain things, so we might not get to see like the full action, but we'll get the majority of stuff before it gets there, basically. That's kind of what I've heard of the games, is that that's how they are. The games are more so like in their entirety, if that makes sense. Um, but they are also a service that you can also buy their books. I've seen plenty of them on Right Stuff. If you go on there and you buy any of those, 18 plus stuff, you have to do that. So, you know, obviously you have to be an adult to buy them. But I've seen those on there. There are a handful of manga collectors that actually get some of that stuff. I think some of them are in the closet about it though, and haven't actually brought it up or talked about it, that they own any of that stuff, even though they're big supporters. You guys, I just have to say that, you guys, um, they probably don't tell anybody in the community or whatever that they read any of that stuff, and then they probably have the whole collect of books that were put out by like Sublime or Fakku, probably. So, now some of that stuff I don't 100% know if it's my cup of tea. In essence, with part of that, because most of it is all like one chapter or so. Now I have enjoyed reading some of the ones that were actually like story arcs and stuff, and it touched on it. And those are ones that I think if they were actual like manga stories that got put out, they would do fairly well over here. But again, and this is another topic that was in the thing, which is Ichi versus like Fakku manga and stuff, or hentai. So for one thing, and I feel like hentai's in different varying degrees. Ecchi, I think, is more of the fan service to the extreme. It's that whole thing where it gives you stuff and it makes you and leads you to believe certain things are going on, but it doesn't. You don't actually get to see it happening. Hentai is where it does happen that way. Sometimes I feel like with that is it leads up to it, which is the first varying degree. There's not very much. You might know that it's going to come and maybe get it like once. If it was printed in book form, you might get it once in a book. That's another thing with these. I think if you have them like that, then it's like every chapter you have some kind of sex related thing in it. So, I know from talking to somebody that Fakku has now started including more, I don't want to call it BL, because BL is just boys love. Even though I think that's also another topic that some people get that wrong, because some BL is actually more extreme than what we think it is. Borderline hentai. Yeah, I know. But there are more that are, I would say, ML. Does that make sense to people? Men's love. I know that there's some of that from what other people have told me on there. That sounds right, I think. And of course, you know, we kind of have, especially with Pride Month and everything, we do have other ones that you do have more androgynous stories and things like that, as well as other ones that are called like non-H. They may have like sexual jokes in them, but there's not actually anything that shows traditional sex in it. It's more like where people and everybody believe that hentai came from, which is from old pictures, don't ask me the guy, of octopus. And then, you know, in Japan it got banned, and then everybody thought, well, we can still make art of this, because what does a tentacle look like? Yeah, so that started a big movement. That one picture kind of started it. Wasn't really a thing. It was portraying a picture of something that happened in an actual story, and then from there it actually, because of the ban, ended up making people think, hey, tentacles do look awfully close to another thing that is part of the male genitalia, I will tell you. So sorry, there's got to be some fire trucks or something going by because all the dogs are going off. Yes, I have dogs. But yeah, I mean, you get stuff like that. I know one that I've read on other sites, like Otaku in 10,000 BC, had a fairly good story. It actually has like 3 books, I think. Right Stuff, I believe, still carries that one. It kind of like lost and then had to get started again because Fakku changed printers, and when they did that, all the books kind of like just stopped, which fixed another issue that I know that they had before, which was they would only be able to print like so many books out, and then whenever you, like, if you didn't get one of them or something, then you were just kind of SOL. And then when they swapped printers, they were able to take all those ones that they had already printed and actually go back and print them again and have second, third, fourth, fifth runs of those series that actually came out where people could buy them and actually read them and such. But overall, I mean, crap, what's his name? Joe, the anime guy. Anime guy I know is like a big supporter of Fakku. Joey, that's his name. Anime guy is like a big supporter of Fakku, so I mean, you have kind of that whole thing backing them as well, which is fairly cool. I've never heard of them actually like having like an affiliate program or anything like that. But I do know like they have teamed up with him a couple times and whatnot, and had events geared towards that. Oh. But, I mean, to each their own. You know, there's manga that's out there that people would like to read. There's stuff that is out there that we would like to read. Us, people. So, you know, and then just like everybody having a preference for certain manga and such, of, hey, I like reading this, I like that, da-da-da. It's kind of the same thing with that stuff. You know, you can pick ones that have different things, like, if people really like Naruto and Bleach and One Piece, where the females are well endowed in the chest area, you know, there's a category for that. If you like other ones where it's girls that are tanned, I mean, you can do that too. There's different ones on there that you can read and pick from for preferences or whatever stories are in there too. You know, some of them that I've read are a little bit crazy, you know, especially when it's ones that are based with like magic or something. Other ones, I will tell you, you can sit down and read those, and it may have it in there, and you'll feel like maybe you read Monster Masume or something like that, and you're like, yeah, this is like where I would like that to go, or something like that. You know, you get that feel good, or something like that, or like Plus Size Elf, if you ever were like, I kind of would like them to go a little more. You know, you can have things like that if you can find those series that are in there. You know, I feel like it gives you, like I said, a little more than what it is. Now, last that I checked, it was $12.99. I think that price went up a little bit. I think it went up to $15.99, which is the same kind of like if you were going to subscribe to any of the other places and read manga and whatnot. You have all those, you know, so it depends on what subscription service you want and your age. Let's just say that, because that is important, right? And one other thing that I think is kind of trippy, yes, I said trippy, is the fact of when you see some of the art styles on there as well. When it comes down to it, you'll see a lot of it and you'll be like, hey, I know that person. I know who did the art for this. And it's really kind of funny seeing part of that, because the art of some of that stuff, and knowing that there are some mangaka that came from sites like Fakku or that did hentai manga before, and that now they actually work doing like children's manga or young adults manga, I guess, and that some of them actually can go back to that and do both and keep up with both of them at the same time, or vice versa, is actually a little trippy. And I don't think that it's as trippy as we think, because, you know, it's kind of like knowing or finding out, like, hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan and Sylvester Stallone and all those guys, you know, before they did all these action movies and stuff that we know them for, they actually did male performances of like porn and stuff. I think it's kind of one of those things that a lot of people don't really think too much about. Like, it makes sense, we get it, that there are mangaka that probably do profit off of doing both of those. I mean, some of them we even have a pretty close tie to some of that stuff. Goodnight Pun Pun and things like that, you know, don't touch in those areas, but there's some of the mangas that are made by those creators that it does have that preference. You know that this is going on, you know, like, hey, they're going to sleep with this girl that was whatever, and I mean, you know some of that stuff happens. And then, you know, when it hops over to on the Fakku site for that stuff, that you do actually get to see some of that, you get to actually read part of that stuff, and it's different, you know. So seeing particular art styles and who draws them and where that kind of goes, I think is a little bit crazy. As well as like what ideas that they came out with, and just target audiences. I'm really surprised, like, that in that whole scheme of things, that there's not more mangaka that do like appropriate manga, we'll call it. That they don't use more of their styles and to make series of what they know, like Fairy Tail and One Piece and stuff like that, because there are a lot of people that obviously are like, oh yeah, let me find something for that. That would be great for me to. I'm gonna find this because that's gonna be like my wet dream. You know, you got people like that. You got obviously a young male audience is going to be that way. But yeah, no, they don't do anything like that. You know, usually it's more of the people that want to like scam the system and draw all the crazy ones that are over there and say, hey, you know, if I draw this to look like those characters, maybe it's not spot on, but maybe I can get away with it. You have, you know, other mangaka people that I guess aren't exactly mangaka because they're stealing those ideas to draw their stuff. You know, things like that. But like I said, to each their own. You get a bunch of different stuff. You get ones that you can actually read that are lovey-dovey and enjoyable, and then you get ones on the other side that are kink-worthy, you know? So, yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of people out there that I think actually do read or subscribe or buy Fakku manga, but they don't actually talk about it. They can't actually talk about it for fear of like what could happen. You know, it's a little different reading something like that versus like hentai or something. I mean, especially with people already looking at people that watch anime and whatnot, it's getting more acceptable. We'll just say that, okay? But of course, then we have other things that are borderline that, like Otakuology just covered, and hopefully maybe I can figure out how to put a link with you guys to know that. Our 100th episode was actually Iken, and Iken is very like borderline itchy, like it doesn't actually go anywhere or do anything, but it's right there. It's very, very itchy. Of course, you have Worlds and Harem, things like that, where it's pretty suggestible. I know there's some other ones that I got that are regular manga. I'll have to find them. That when you read them, you know, it started out and you're like, oh yeah, and then it just went downhill. You know, a lot of people become trash pandas that way, I believe. So, you know, especially when you do that. And it's kind of funny how also that it's for guys, it's not as like acceptable, I feel like, at least until now. Now I feel like it's getting more acceptable to have more of those love story ones for characters or whatever with the harems and stuff. Compared to like the old school BL where, yeah, like it was all on the paper for you to read. Now, you know, I think we do have like another medium that is even more so, more than Josei and Seinen. I think it's even more so. You know, we have another higher tier to some of that, I think. So, but yeah, anyway, let me know what you think about this. Like, subscribe, put comments, whatever. See you next Tuesday. And like I said, again, let me know what you think. Do you read Fakku manga? What's your favorite Fakku manga? And we may have a part 2 of this discussion, especially covering other things. Or I may have some friends actually record things if you let me know that you read this stuff, And maybe we'll make a little like split cut screen thing of, you know, them talking about what's their favorite Fakku manga or something like that, you know. Like I said, there is a lot more, so it's not just staying geared towards women or cis straight men or anything else. You know, it's branching out more. So that is one good thing I think, and I agree with more with Fakku, that they are forward thinking and moving. So anyway, again, catch you guys later. Peace. Bye. And see you next Tuesday.